Patricia Levi. I'm Pastor Ryan's wife. So hello to all those who I haven't met yet. Just wanted to share my testimony with you guys today. I've been struggling with this because I didn't really feel like I had a ton to say personally. Just feel like it's like family history that kind of changed who I was. And growing up, I grew up with a mom who just loved the Lord, and I saw that daily. I was so blessed. My father was an abusive alcoholic, so that was a very tough time of living in that family dynamic. We would be in safe houses from time to time, and he would try to come find us, and I just remember fear. And I remember thinking, this isn't how a father should be treating his family. And so I guess you could say there were some wounds, and as I got older, those wounds kind of carried. I loved the Lord. I went to Bible camp. My mom was a cook, and so I got to go from a really young age and just experience camp life, and that was what I looked forward to the most every single year. And I don't know when I asked God into my heart, because it had to have been really young. Every year since, I recommitted myself because I thought that's what you needed to do. But I knew I loved the Lord and I wanted to live for Him my whole life. And as time moves on, my mom finally met an amazing man. She never wanted to get remarried again. She met Marvin Vold, and it was like God's gift to our family. He was so good to us, and he accepted me like I was his flesh and blood. There was no strings attached. I just kept waiting for him to mess up, and just kept thinking, this is what guys do. They love you and then they leave you. So he didn't ever mess up, but he had a massive heart attack and passed away my first semester at Bible school. And I remember being called down to the dean's office and being told something happened to my dad. And I said, which one? Because I wanted so badly for my stepdad, who I called Daddy, to be fine. And I wasn't so upset if something happened to my biological dad. And when she told me it was Marvin, my world was spinning. And I got angry at God. I was angry for a long time. And I think that just reiterated the thought that I had from the enemy that if a man is gonna love me, he's gonna leave me. And so my walls started to build. Funny enough, my older brother was in prison when I found out about my dad. And where my Bible school was and his prison was about 30 minutes apart. So the chaplain there arranged for him and I to visit. And he had chosen a very different path than I had. He wanted so bad to be accepted and loved by my biological dad. And I know that that was hard on him growing up. That rejection over and over again, and then being abused from people that we all trusted. He just viewed God as a crutch, and it was hard to watch him walk a different path. He buried his hurt with drugs and alcohol, and anyway, it landed him in jail a few times, prison, and this is where I was visiting him, and I remember a phrase that he had said. He said, "You think God got it wrong? He should have taken me instead of Marvin." And I remember thinking, but God's not done with you yet. And so I just kept praying and praying for my brother just to come to know the Lord, so that his past and his history could then be a testimony to God's goodness coming forward. And he passed away 4 years later of a drug overdose, and it was suicide. I think he just couldn't find a way out, but God promised us on his deathbed. God kept showing us time and time again from his word, a verse, Philippians 1:6. I have it tattooed on my foot. Being confident of this very thing, that he who began a good work in you will carry it out into the day of completion. We know without a shadow of a doubt that even on his deathbed, God was there with him and he reached him because he is that loving Father. I know that Alan, that's my brother, I know that he never wanted that life for himself. He never wanted to be a drug dealer. That wasn't his choice growing up. That wasn't what he strived to become. But God still saw him as his little one. And I know that if my kids ever made a choice like that, you know, that unconditional love, you love them no matter what stupid choice we make. God is a good God and he loves us and he wants us to run into his arms. And that's my picture for my brother, is just, he is safe with his heavenly Father now. And that is exciting for me. I get to see him again. And I remember having a wall I was very loud as a young adult, very sure of myself, but it was all to say, I don't need you, I got this. And I remember working through some daddy issues and asking God to break down those walls and helping me to see him as that purest form of a father, because it was so tainted for me. And even though I got that glimpse of it with my stepdad, I am so excited for what's to come for eternity with that, the Father of all creation in that perfect form. I just can't even imagine. So he helped me to work through some of my struggles, my fears, and the day I was ready, it was like God audibly said, be nice. Ryan walked through the door and I told him, I shouted, hey, Pastor Ryan, from across the church. Our churches were working together at that point for a fall fair we were having. And it was, the rest is history. I told my friend, I think I have a crush, but it might just be to get me through the night. Because at that point I just felt like there was no good godly man in my town ready to take me on. And sure enough, God brought me Ryan, and here we are today. Though things haven't been easy, we've had our struggles, we've had our scares. God has always been there, and he's always leading and always guiding us. And then on the flip side, I see how that has been so perfect and how good he is. I think, well, God, you are a good Father. And I'm thankful that he loves me like he does. And I'm excited to just walk with him and go deeper and see the truest form of a Father, a heavenly Father. I'm so thankful.